Hello, everyone. Yeah, let's continue with our third session of working with BigQuery. So till now, what we have seen BigQuery interface, navigating the BigQuery interface, and we have seen using the BigQuery command line tool with the help of Google Cloud Console. Yeah, and then after that, we have seen how can you install and configure Google Cloud SDK. Yeah, so now let's continue with the next point of using the BigQuery command line tool, in which we are going to see some basic commands. So here are some common BigQuery commands and how to use them. So if you want to list all the data set in your project, so what can you write? You just have to execute the command bqls. So it is going to show you the list of all the data set present in your project. Okay. In order to create a data set, create a new data set, you can make a use of a command bq space make and then supply the name of dataset name. Okay. And then in order to list the tables in a dataset, what can you do? To list all the tables present in the dataset, you can make a use of bqls dataset name. Supply the dataset name for which you want to see the list of tables. Similarly, to create a dataset, so to create a table, okay, what you have to do, you just have to specify the schema. For example, bq make dash table. Can you see that? Database name dot table name and then schema. So for example, BigQuery make what table? What is this? Dataset name, that is my dataset dot my table name. Okay. Okay. And then name. Name will be the string, age will be as an integer, city as a string. Okay. Next is load data into a table. So to load the data from a CSV file into a table, you can execute this command bq load data source underscore format. You can see here. So for example, bq load dash dash source underscore format CSV. Okay, the CSV and then dataset name dot table name, the path to a CSV file, and then supply the schema. So these are some very basic commands you can use, okay, in your Google Cloud SDK shell. Okay, if you want to interact directly with the project, like a BigQuery. So if you think, instead of using this, Google Cloud command line tool or interface, can we directly go ahead with the Google Cloud console in which we have the BigQuery option, and we can directly go ahead with the creating the table, creating the data set, listing the table, writing the queries. So I will say, yeah, that is more easier option for you guys. Because once you open the Google Cloud console, there is an option for you, right? Once you open the Google Cloud console, you can see there is option for you. Okay, that BigQuery, or you can go to navigation menu and just open the BigQuery. And here also you can see what is the project in which you are working with the project ID. Under that, whatever the data set you want to create, for example, just click on this expand action. There is an option to create a data set. Once you create a data set, you just click on the data set. Then you will see the option to create a table. And then once you click on the create table, there is an option for you to create a table from any source. There are various ways to create a table. So even if you want to upload the local files which is present in your system, you can upload it to create a table which is going to be present under this data set. Okay, so it's your choice how you want to create a data set, how you want to create a table, okay, how you want to execute the query, okay, either with the help of directly BigQuery, okay, Google Cloud Console BigQuery page here, or with the help of Google Cloud command line interface, Google Cloud shell, we can say that. Google Cloud command line interface shell. Okay, so it's your choice how you want to go ahead. Yeah. So it's your choice. You want to how you want to go ahead. And then because Google Cloud SDK shell in which if you want to utilize it, then you have to enter these commands. There are some commands you need to know to create a data set, to create a table under dataset, to view the list of all dataset present in your project, like that. So for example, once I open my Google Cloud SDK shell, if I write BQLS, BQuery LS, so let me run it. So what does it going to show me? It is going to show me the list of available projects for me. So since my Google Cloud here project is set to this one, BigQuery course with the project ID, this one. So under this one, as of now, I am having only one data set with the name dataset underscore. So can you see that I am getting the same answer? Got it. Similarly, if you want to know, list the tables in a dataset, to view or list all the tables in the dataset, what you write? BQLS followed by the dataset name. So what I will do? BQ, that is BigQuery list dataset name. What is my dataset name? Dataset underscore one. Now, if I press the enter button, can you see that there is a one table underscore one. Okay, there is one table. So if you want to verify it, just open your BigQuery window. Yeah, can you see that under this one? Presently, I'm having one table, table one. Can you see that? Okay. So it's your choice whether you want to go ahead with the Google Cloud Console BigQuery interface, okay, or you want to go ahead with the Google Cloud SDK shell. Okay, so for that, if you want to utilize Google Cloud SDK shell, then you have to execute some command in order to create dataset, to write a table into a dataset. Okay, got it. Okay. Similarly, in order to run a query in in order to run the query with the help of your Google Cloud SDK shell, okay, or in a Google Cloud command line interface with the help of that. So there is a command here. There is a command that you have to execute. Can you see that? BigQuery query under dash dash use legacy SQL is equal to false, and then select from whatever it is. So let's see. If I have to use this to retrieve the data. So what I will do, let me copy paste it. Okay, so let me just copy paste it, copy it, and let me paste it in a Google Cloud SDK shell. So BigQuery query dash dash use legacy SQL false, select what I want to select. Select, suppose I want to select everything. So I will write star. Select star from the dataset name with the table. What is my dataset name? My dataset name is dataset1. Dataset underscore one. With my table name is table underscore one. Table underscore one. And I want to limit it with the 10 records. So if I execute this code, let's see what's going to happen. Okay, what's the error in the query? Select star from dataset underscore one dot table underscore one limited at one. Okay, unexpected string literal. Okay, 1 minute. What's the code here? Yes. Can you see that? What's the mistake we done? We have written the query inside a single or double quote. You should remove this. Can you see that single quote here? So once I run this query, can you see that I'm getting the output? It's a very, very huge table with the date, country, region code, region name, latitude, longitude, location, geom, hospitalized patients, so many things. Yeah. If I want to, limit it with the few things like date, country, date of country, for example. So I will write select date, comma, country. From dataset with the limit, I just want to have, for example, 5 rows. Let me run it. Yes, can we see we got the answer now? We got a table. Okay, we have retrieved a data from the table 1, which is present inside a dataset 1, which is present under the project. Okay, so we have selected date and country from the table with the limit 5 means only 5 records. Only initial 5 rows we want to fetch. We want to retrieve. So you can see we got the answer. Got it? Now you might think instead of writing this a whole query, you can see that it's a little bit long. Can we directly write the SQL queries, okay, to retrieve the initial 5 rows from these data sets using the BigQuery page? So I will say, yeah, that is more convenient and easier. For example, suppose here, what can we do? Once I select this one, I will click on the query, okay. And what do you want to select? I want to select date, comma, country from the project name with the dataset name with the table name. Project ID, okay, this is project ID dot dataset name dot table name with the limit, for example, 5. And now if I run this code, okay, so select what is the date and this one. So if I run this one, can you see we got the answer in which we have successfully retrieved the data from the table 1, okay, with the 5 records, which shows the details about the date and country. Can you see that? This output and this output. Yeah, can you see that? Is it same? Yeah, obviously it must be same. Okay, so it's your choice. Either you want to go ahead with the Google Cloud Shell, okay, Google Cloud SDK shell to create data set, to create the table, or to write the SQL queries to retrieve the data from data sets. You can make a use of Google Cloud SDK shell, or directly you can make a use of Google Cloud console web interface. You can go ahead, you can just open the BigQuery, okay, and then select the table which is present in the data set and directly write the query. And once you run the query with the help of run button, you are going to see the result at the bottom. Got it? Yeah. So these are the some basic commands that you can utilize for different purpose. So to run the query, to run SQL query, okay, in the Google Cloud shell, Google Cloud SDK shell. So you have to write this code, this command. Similarly, export the data from a table. To export the data from a table to Google Cloud storage bucket, you have to execute this command. Likewise, deleting the table and deleting the data set. Okay, there are the command for it. Got it? So I hope now you understand how to execute. Yeah, how to execute the command line. Yeah, how to make a use of command line tool. Right. So remember, what is the command line tool? Remember this one. Okay, so what we have done, the BigQuery command line tool is a powerful utility included with the Google Cloud SDK, which allow the user to interact with the BigQuery from the command line. So you can see here we have opened the Google Cloud SDK shell, and from that we are directly interacting with the BigQuery to create the data, to create a table, to create data set, to access or retrieve the data from the table. Yeah. So BigQuery command line tool provides a way to manage the BigQuery resources, execute the queries, and perform the data operation without using the Google Cloud console web interface. Okay, so if you don't have the option for a Google Cloud console web interface, then you can go ahead with the Google Cloud command line tool. Okay, the BigQuery command line tool is designed to handle all the aspects of BigQuery management. Okay, and for that, in order to enter the BigQuery command line tool commands in the Cloud Shell. You can go ahead with the Google Cloud console, or you can make a use of Google Cloud command line interface. So we have seen both the things. We have seen how can you utilize the Google Cloud console in order to enter the command line tool. So if you want to enter or if you want to use the BigQuery command line tool in a Google Cloud console, you just have to activate the Cloud Shell. Okay, and once it get activated, you can enter the commands. Which command that we have seen just now? For example, if you want to see list of available project, what's a command for it? BQ projects list. Yeah. If you write BQLS, then it is going to show you the list of all the data sets. Yeah, to list all the data set BQLS. If you want to see if you want to see the list of tables, okay, present in the data sets, you write the BQLS followed by the dataset name. So you have to enter these commands either in a Google Cloud SDK shell, or even you can enter in a once you activate the once you activate the Cloud Shell. So once you activate the Cloud Shell, it is going to open the Cloud Shell terminal where you can enter these commands. Okay. So I hope now you understand the use of BigQuery command line tool. Okay. Now let's continue with the next point of introduction to BigQuery client libraries. Okay. So you can see here, BigQuery client libraries are designed to simplify the process of interacting with Google BigQuery from within your application. These libraries are available for several popular programming languages, allowing the developers to integrate BigQuery functionalities directly into their code bases without needing to manually handle the API request. The client libraries abstract many of the complexities involved in working with BigQuery, providing a more intuitive and idiomatic interface for the developers. They handle tasks such as authentication, API requests, and data transformations, allowing developers to focus on building their application rather than managing the underlying infrastructure. Okay, so BigQuery client libraries are designed to simplify the process of interacting with the Google BigQuery from within your application. The Google Cloud SDK includes client libraries for various programming languages to help the developers integrate GCP services into their application seamlessly. So some popular languages include Python, Java, JavaScript, Node.js, Go, Ruby, PHP, .NET, C Sharp. Okay, so Google Cloud SDK include these client libraries for the various programming language, which is going to help the developers to integrate the GCP services to their application. Okay, and some popular languages included here is Python, Java, JavaScript, Go, Ruby, PHP, .NET. Okay, now installation and setup for Python. So suppose if you want to use the client libraries, BigQuery client libraries are designed to simplify the process of interacting with the Google BigQuery from within your application. Now, the first thing is, if you want to utilize it, you need to make sure that you should have the Google Cloud SDK. Okay, so let's see that. Installation and setup for, let's suppose if you want to go ahead for a Python programming language. So the first thing is install the library. How to install the library? Let's suppose if you have the Jupyter Notebook, so you just have to execute the code, pip install Google Cloud BigQuery. Okay, so let me execute this code. Okay, what's the purpose of BigQuery client libraries? Remember, BigQuery client libraries are designed to simplify the process of interacting with the Google BigQuery from within your application. So suppose that if you're using the Jupyter Notebook and if you want to interact with the BigQuery, how can you do that? So the first thing is that for that, you need to make sure that you should have installed and configure your Google Cloud SDK. Next thing is just open your Jupyter Notebook, for example, if you are having the Python programming language, yeah. And if you're using the Python programming language for your application, the thing is you just open the Jupyter Notebook. So for example, let me open the Jupyter Notebook here. So yeah, can you see it's opening now? Yeah, it has opened now. I will go to new notebook and then I will click on the Python 3 to create a new Jupyter Notebook file here. Now, what is the first thing? Installation and setup for Python. To install the library, what you have to do? You have to install Google Cloud BigQuery library. So just copy it and paste it in your Jupyter Notebook. So let me run it. So just wait, it's running. Can you see in my case, requirements already satisfied. This means this library, Google Cloud BigQuery library is already installed in my system. But in your case, you are going to see the installation prompt. Okay, and finally it is going to give you the message, the Google Cloud BigQuery has successfully installed in your system, like that. Okay, in my case, since I have already installed it, so I'm getting the message requirements already satisfied. Okay, now once you have installed and set up for a Python, now you can utilize, okay, you can make a use of, for example, Jupyter Notebook, because you have installed the library, which is Google Cloud BigQuery library in a Jupyter Notebook in order to interact with your BigQuery. Okay, so for example, how to utilize it? So the first thing is from google.cloud, import the BigQuery. Okay, what do you have to import? You have to import the BigQuery, and then you have to initialize a BigQuery client. So in order to initialize the BigQuery client, you just write client is equal to BigQuery.client. Okay, and then you write a query what you want to perform. So select start from the dataset one dot table underscore one. Okay. Next one is the result of this one. It's nothing but the query and then the client dot query and then the query. It is going to help us to run the query. And finally, the result of this is going to be stored in a query job. And we are converting the query job to data frame. And finally, we are displaying the result. So if I, execute this code, in Jupyter Notebook. So let's see what is going to happen. Okay, so wait for a few seconds. Yeah, what's the error we are getting here? Your default credential were not found to set up the default application default credential. See this one. Okay, default credential error. Okay, so just a minute. What can we do here? Okay, so we were getting the error. Your default credential were not found. To set up the application default credential, there is a link we got, okay, while executing this code. Okay, so what is the first step we done? We have installed the library Google Cloud BigQuery. And now what we want to do? We want to retrieve the data from the table one, which is present under the dataset one. After executing this query, we were getting some error, right? Your default condition was not found. So how we solve it? So see, if you're getting such a message, such an error, your default credentials were not found, and to set up the authentication default, you visit this one. So in this case, what can you do? Just open your Google Cloud SDK shell. So let me just open the Google Cloud SDK shell for you. So just open the Google Cloud SDK shell. And you have to authenticate with the Google Cloud. You have to perform authentication with the Google Cloud. So in order to authenticate with the Google Cloud account, so what you do? You just open the Google Cloud SDK shell and write this command gcloud authentication application dash default login. If I press the enter button now, so it is going to open the link, a web browser. It's open with the web page where it is asking me to choose the account. And then I just have to choose the account, okay, that I have set up for the GCP. And then I will just continue here. And then here, Google Authority library wants to access your Google account. So just allow it. Okay, now you're done with it. So now you can see you are now authenticated with the Google Cloud command line interface. So what you do, you just go back to your, this one, Jupyter Notebook. So what you do now, again, execute this query. Okay, let me just execute this query again in front of you. This time you will not get this error. Okay, this time you will, you can see that we are getting the output here. Can you see that? So we have retrieved the data from the table 1 of a dataset 1, okay, using this query. You can see the output. Got it? Yeah. So I hope now you understand how can you use the Jupyter Notebook in order to retrieve the data present in a table, in a dataset, in a BigQuery. Got it? Yeah. So even if you want to utilize, yeah, the BigQuery public dataset to retrieve a data from the particular dataset, from the particular table, you can go ahead with this code. Okay, so what you have to do, you just have to change the SQL query here. Okay, you just have to change the query, whatever you want to retrieve from, supply the dataset name with the per table name. Got it? So now I hope you understand introduction to BigQuery client libraries. Okay, in this way, with the help of BigQuery's client libraries, which is especially designed to simplify the process of interacting the Google BigQuery from within your application. So what we have done, the first thing is we have installed the library Google Cloud BigQuery library. Okay, we have done the installation and setup for the Python. So in a Jupyter Notebook, we have installed Google Cloud BigQuery. After that, we have utilized, we have written this code, okay, in order to retrieve the data from the table 1 from the dataset 1. But if you're getting the error, some kind of authentication problem, then what you have to do? You just have to open the Google Cloud SDK. Once you open that, you just have to run the code gcloud authentication application default login. After that, it is going to open the page, web page, in which you just have to verify, okay, the Gmail account using which you have set up the GCP account. Okay, after that, once you're done with it, you just execute the code again and you will see the answer. You are going to get the answer. Got it? So I hope now you understand how can you do the installation and setup for Python in order to interact with the BigQuery. Okay, even if you want to, understand this code in detail, so let me help you to understand this code in detail. So see here, in the first line, can you see we have import the BigQuery client library, okay, from BigQuery.cloud, from cloud, Google.cloud import the BigQuery. Okay, so this line import the BigQuery module from the Google.cloud packet. And this module contains the tools you need to interact with the Google BigQuery from your Python code. Okay, next, initialize the BigQuery client. Okay, so in the next line, what we have written, client is equal to BigQuery.client. Yeah, so what we're doing? So here I'm trying to explain all this code in detail. Okay, so the first step is from Google.cloud import the BigQuery, where we are importing the BigQuery client library. The next code is initialize the BigQuery client. So here we create the instance of BigQuery client. This client is used to interact with the BigQuery service. It will authenticate using that application default credential if they are set up, or it will use the credential specified in the environment variable Google application credential. Okay, the next code here is define and run a query. So perform a simple query After that, we have written query is equal to select star from dataset underscore one dot table underscore one. So this means we want to retrieve all the record from the table one, which is present in a dataset. Okay. And then there is a query job is equal to client dot query of that, and then the query. So what is this line is doing? So define a query, which is the first line. The query variable holds the SQL query starting with starting that will be executed. So in this case, it will select all the columns because we have specified star here from the table one, which is present in dataset one. And then run the query. For that, we have written the code query underscore job is equal to client dot query. Inside that, we have supplied the query again. So the client dot query method sends the SQL query to the BigQuery. The result of this query is stored in the query job variable. Can you see that? Query underscore job. This query underscore job variable is a query job object which represent the running query job. Okay, in the next line of code, what we have done, we have converted the query result to a pandas data frame. So data frame result is equal to query underscore job to underscore data frame. So this line is going to convert the result of the query to a pandas data frame. So we know that pandas is a powerful data manipulation library in Python, and converting the query result to a data frame make it easier to analyze and manipulate the data. And finally, we are displaying the result with the help of print results.head. So the print result.head commands print the few rows of the data frame. By default, it shows the first 5 rows. Okay. And this is the quick way to inspect the data written by the table. Okay. Got it. Yeah. So finally, I hope you now understand all the things. So this is the quick way to inspect data written by the query. Okay. So these are the steps which we have. These are the code which we have written in order to interact to BigQuery with the help of our Python code in a Jupyter Notebook. Okay. Now let's continue with the next point of what are the key features, okay, of a BigQuery client library. So the first one is simplified API. The client library provide a high-level API that simplifies interaction with the BigQuery. Next key feature of client libraries is authentication. They handle the authentication using the Google Cloud's default credential, which can be configured via the environment variable or with the help of Google Cloud SDK. Yeah. Next is asynchronous operation. Many libraries support asynchronous operation, allowing for non-blocking code execution. Okay. Next key feature of client library is automatic retrieves. The library includes built-in mechanism for retrieving failed requests, improving resilience and reliability. Next key feature is data transformation. They automatically handle the data serialization and deserialization between your application's data structure and BigQuery's format. Okay. Now, what are the use cases for BigQuery client library? Is the first one is the data analytics. Integrate BigQuery's powerful analytics capabilities into your application to process and analyze large data set. Next use case is reporting. Generate reports by querying BigQuery directly from your application. Next use case of the BigQuery client library is data pipelines integration. So you can make a use of BigQuery client library to build the data pipelines that move the data in and out of BigQuery. And finally, real-time processing. Combine the BigQuery with other real-time processing tools to analyze streaming data. So BigQuery client libraries are powerful tools that simplify the process of interacting with the BigQuery. By using these libraries, developers can seamlessly integrate BigQuery's data processing and analytics capabilities into their applications, enabling a wide range of data-driven use cases. Whether you are working with a Python, Java, Node.js, or any other supported language, the client libraries provide a convenient and efficient way to manage the BigQuery resource and execute the queries. So we have seen how can you manage the BigQuery resource and execute. How can you execute the queries? Okay, how to manage the BigQuery, okay, resources and execute the queries. So we have seen what we have done in order to interact with the BigQuery. We have installed the library. Okay, which library? The BigQuery client library in a Python. So what we have done, we have opened the Jupyter Notebook. After that, we have installed the library. Yeah, which library we have installed? We have installed the Google Cloud BigQuery library. Okay. After that, what we have done, once it is installed, we have written few lines of code in order to retrieve the data present in a table, in a data set, in a BigQuery. Okay, and then we have seen what all of these lines, what each of these lines is doing, what is their role, and finally we are getting the data. Got it? And then we have seen what are their key features with its use cases. Got it? So till now, what have you seen? We have seen that it's possible to interact with the BigQuery even with your Python or Jupyter Notebook. Okay. Even if you want to create your table or data set, you can also make a use of Google Cloud SDK command line interface. Yeah. Through which you can create data set, you can create a table, even with the help of Google Cloud SDK shell or the command line interface, you can retrieve the data present in a table. Got it. Even with the help of BigQuery client libraries, we have seen how can you interact with the help of Python Jupyter Notebook. Okay. How in the Jupyter Notebook, we have installed the BigQuery client library. After that, how can we access the table present in a data set in a BigQuery? Got it. So what I will do, I will continue with the next point of data format supported by the BigQuery in the next video. Okay. Yeah.